You know, what if everything you've ever learned about life, what if it could all be summed up in just 3 words? It sounds kind of impossible, right? But one of America's greatest poets, well, he believed it could be done. And today, we're going to dig into that simple but incredibly powerful idea. And here it is, from the one and only Robert Frost. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Just 3 simple words. So, what's the big deal? What's the deep wisdom hiding inside that little phrase? Well, let's unpack it together. What we're really looking at here is a profound 3-word truth. This line, it's like a gentle nudge on some days, and on others, it's a mirror. It reflects this universal truth about life that somehow feels deeply personal to every single one of us, no matter what we're going through. To really get the weight of these words, we have to understand the man who wrote them. Robert Frost was a poet of simple wisdom. See, his genius wasn't in using complicated, fancy language. It was in finding the most extraordinary meaning in the most ordinary parts of life. And his own life, it was just filled with tragedy, which gives this phrase an incredible, almost unbearable weight.
So this really breaks down his style. His poems, they look so simple on the page, but underneath they carry this immense emotional weight. He wrote about stuff we all experience: nature, big choices, loss, hope. And believe me, he knew loss. He actually outlived 4 of his 6 children. So he trusted clarity, directness. He found his wisdom just by watching life happen and accepting its rhythm. That's why these 3 words, they aren't just some casual thought. They are a hard-won, deeply felt truth.
And this brings us right to the heart of it: resilience. But, and this is so important, it's not about some blind optimism. It's about acceptance. This is a really crucial distinction because honestly, this quote gets misunderstood all the time. Okay, so look at this. On the left, you've got the common misconception that the quote is just false comfort, a way to ignore pain, or some kind of everything's great dramatic optimism. But the deeper truth, over on the right, is so much more powerful. It's about real resilience. It's about accepting reality for what it is and finding a quiet, solid strength to just keep going. At the very core of this idea is acceptance. Frost is telling us that life doesn't hit pause just because we're grieving, or scared, or full of regret. Time just keeps ticking forward, and with it comes change. It's inevitable. This isn't about pretending to be happy when things are tough. It's about looking the hardship right in the eye and knowing that life is going to continue anyway.
So that's all great in theory, but how do we actually apply this timeless quote to our own lives? Let's talk about finding real strength in this idea in our day-to-day moments.
So when can this little 3-word reminder actually help? Well, for sure in moments of uncertainty, when you have no idea what's coming next. Absolutely when your plans just completely fall apart. And of course, after a big failure or a deep loss. But my favorite one? On any ordinary day. It's a grounding perspective, you know? A quiet little anchor in the middle of all the chaos. Ultimately, what this quote really does is it pushes us. It encourages us to stop waiting around for the perfect moment or for the storm to finally pass. Instead, it just tells us to keep moving with life as it happens, day by day, one step at a time. And this all leads us to one last, really thought-provoking question. Is this constant forward motion of life, is it a burden or is it actually a gift? Powerful ideas do not need many lines. I mean, this pretty much says it all, doesn't it? This was Robert Frost's genius. His ability to take a huge, universal, complicated truth about being human and boil it down to something so direct, so honest, and so real. And so, I'm just going to leave you with this to think about. The fact that life relentlessly, unstoppably continues, no matter what happens, is that a burden we have to carry, or is it a gift we get to open every day?